by Mr. Darko Beats.
Welcome in New York. Welcome back to the Post 90 podcast. You already know, New York is fucking blue. Always, always was, always is, always will be. And we have a ton of things to talk about today. I mean, I think we last talked to you guys after the Open Cup game, and since then we've had
I think the game right after.
Or the game after.
Yeah.
So we've had a horrible game against Montreal. Same thing with DC United. Lucky, I think, that DC United wasn't a lot uglier than it was because Benteke went down. But then obviously we have the Red Bulls. The Bulls come into town. They come into town because they're not in town. That, despite what their name will tell you.
The bridge.
Yeah. And just get whooped, honestly. I feel like 2-0 doesn't really tell the full story. I think we should have been like at least 2 or 3-0 at half, honestly. And I think Pascal said the same after the game, but like, I don't know. Where do you want to take it? We have so much to catch up on.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's ever been like a better time in New York than right now. Like, there's so much good going on between the Knicks and the Subway Series and, you know, New York being blue again, which is just continuing this kind of reign of terror that we've brought to that club for, you know, the last year and a half, give or take. Granted, we did lose in the biggest moment.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're looking at the scoreboard, overall, it is overwhelmingly blue.
Amounted to nothing.
Right.
And I saw Red Bull fans bringing that up, like, I can't remember. It was one of their players, and they were like, oh, he scored a great goal against the Smurfs last year in our run. And I was like, your run that amounted in what?
Right.
Like,
a runners-up cup. Like.
Yeah. So, and then, I mean, even still, you look at that, like the LA Galaxy haven't even managed to win a game this year. And I know there's been some injuries and some departing players that have like managed that, but like, brother, I don't know when you're going to get another chance like that.
And, you know, you kind of look at it. I didn't go into this game expecting much. I did expect a win just based on the vibes of the city at the moment, just with everything kind of going the way of the good guys. I expected a win, but I didn't expect, you know, kind of not a statement, but, you know, really killing off the team, you know, addressing some of the things that we had concerns about that we expressed in the last episode of not killing teams off, not, you know, having that finishing punch. And I think we could have probably even poured on even more, like you said. So I was just super happy to see that, especially coming off of the DC game, which, you know, honestly, had we skipped it altogether, not watched it at all, we probably would have been better off and had 90 more minutes to do whatever we want in our life. Yeah. Like, that was just a tragedy of a game. Definitely had us spiraling, but that Red Bulls game had brought vibes all the way back.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we had texts back and forth where I said, like, this is the worst that we've been in a little while after the DC game. Like, it was like all-time, vibes are at an all-time low, I think I said. So yeah, to completely 180 it, it's a great thing. I think there's a lot of things to take away from the game itself. Like you said, finally killing off an opponent that is like, you know, fighting back and at times looking like they could, you know, potentially steal something is super huge. And for it to come through Maxi on like that beautiful little ballet dance that he put 2 center backs and Coronel through in the box is just crazy. I feel like we always do that to them.
Yeah.
You remember the goal last year? I think it was Julian or Alonso or maybe it was even Hannes, but somebody fake shot and like
it was Hannes.
4 dudes
went
sliding to the right and he just was like, boop, all right, that's a goal.
Sensational.
I don't know how, because I feel like Coronel at times has been like pretty class when we've played him. Even after that first Alonso goal, he had that breakaway with the center back on his back. Yeah. And I mean, he could have just lifted the ball and put it over him, but like still great to get your paws on it by him. So I don't know. That if you're a Red Bulls fan, I don't know, you got to work on consistency back there or something, because sometimes these guys can look like world beaters in the defense, and then other times it's just like, I think Blue Balls tweeted it, like it's just the cartoon noises of them slipping and sliding around and crashing into each other.
Yeah, and when you looked at this game on paper, like you got the Red Bulls going and smashing Galaxy 7-0, and we're barely scraping a point from DC. On paper, it was just like, this might be one of those dogfight, you know, clashes where there's a ton of pushing and shoving and, you know, chippy match, and it really wasn't, that, to be fair. Like, it was very much us dominating possession, actually getting players forward in attack. I thought, like, if we're going to highlight a player that's not Alonso, Julian, with all of the noise, I thought really showed up in this game.
Well, I was worried too prior to Maxi kind of killing that game off with the subs that were made. We were obviously talking as we were watching the game that it did not feel like those were positive to getting a winning result. Ojeda, I think, came in and replaced Julian. And then we talked a little bit about who else do you really replace? Because I think Hannes was back at the left back position.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, more or less, which makes for a weird thing. But I even feel like you kind of just let Julian run for the full 90. Like, I don't know why. Was it necessary to even make the change?
Maybe he was kind of, if I watched it back, maybe he was starting to slow down from actually giving effort for, more than 30 minutes at a time. But yeah, I don't know. The subs were interesting. I thought putting Johnny into that position was interesting as well, to come, in as a sub in a derby at home. Realistically at home is probably the best, scenario to do that in, because you don't want to put him into a derby away. But it just seems like putting a ton of pressure on the kid, where I didn't necessarily think we needed to do that. I think we were perfectly fine the way we were. So that those parts of the subs were a little bit interesting. But at the end of the day, when you go and win 2-0, like, there's not too much you can complain about.
And Johnny held it together out there, like, more or less.
I thought he almost had a goal, right? From a header, possibly.
It was either, I think it might have been he almost had a goal and he almost had an assist as well.
Yeah, so, he showed up.
Yeah, and in his, not new partner, but new player to Johnny in the midfield and new player to our team in the midfield, we have Aiden O'Neill, and we're a few appearances, a few starts in at this point. Like, is there anything to you that kind of has, like, stood out so far with this guy? Or is he, I kind of just see him as, like...
He's like an invisible great face.
Yeah, I'm not going to relate it to a Sands, but, like, if we're talking, like, maybe a 20th or a 10th of a Sands position where, like, he's out there and he's kind of, like, quietly going about his business, and he's not really overachieving maybe in the way that Sands does, but, like, he's taking care of things, every so often on the field. And I feel like this was a positive addition, I think, is something that we can already take from this.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of maturity, and, I guess the ability to be invisible in a game but still contribute is probably a good thing. Whereas you think, Keaton or Pereira or, even Maxi at this point, like, they're going to have these moments where they're less than perfect, and it's very obvious, and it leads to either a chance or a turnover or something like that. And Aiden, I just feel like he's quietly invisible. Like, he's just kind of there, gets a job done, and there's really nothing that we can look at and be like, that was terrible. Or on the flip side, we can't really look at it and be like, wow, that was amazing. Did you see what he did?
Right, yeah. And I think Johnny came in and replaced Pereira too. I guess I'm trying to remember how the midfield was kind of put together out there. Was Aiden sitting in that
Aiden
kind of role?
Seemed like he was kind of, well, between this game and the DC game, like, he kind of is just everywhere. Like, I don't really see him in a defined position, because you'll see him kind of carry the ball up. You'll see him be in those advanced positions, and you're like, oh, is he actually playing the 10 right now? Is he playing like a super advanced 8? Like, what exactly is he doing? And then you see him kind of in front of the center backs at times, and you're like, where is this dude meant to be? Or is he just kind of given that free roam tactic where he's allowed to go wherever?
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because Pereira feels like the same kind of archetype of a midfielder. So to see both of them, at least for the first half of this game, first 60 minutes of this game, like you said, it was pretty fluid and hard to pick out who's meant to do what and who actually is doing what. And I wonder, if it went well this game, and if that could potentially be something that's like an issue in the future. I don't know, because to me it seems interesting, if you have both these guys that are pretty fluid and maybe they don't have super specific instructions on what to do, like, that could get a little bit wishy-washy out on the field between the two of them needing to communicate, like, who's going to do what in a certain moment.
Yeah, but it could also overload other teams' midfields and allow kind of what happened, which is the game being super open in our favor and not really hurting us too much defensively in terms of getting back. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
interesting,
yeah,
definitely.
it's like when it's good, it's really good. And
Yeah,
it
sometimes
feels
maybe
like
good, sometimes maybe shit.
yeah, when it's bad,
It could be like a routing.
it could be bad. Yeah, I feel like on the defensive front, I don't know if there's anything super major to talk about. Hack goes and gets that assist from or for Alonso, which
Which he didn't claim.
it was like 99%
Yeah,
Alonso to be fair.
I think in the presser, he pretty much was like, I didn't even know that, but I'm not going to even claim that based on the shot that happened.
Yeah,
We're going to take that because I think as hack guys, we got to,
is it on the stat sheet?
oh, yeah,
Then,
100%. And
did
if
the
he
Mets
has
get paid out?
if he has any bonuses based off of assists, like he's closer to it than he was before.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting more defensively, just the way that they were using Hannes. Like it seemed like they were wanting him to kind of tuck back to help out and let Burke defend as a center back, but then Burke was also bringing the ball forward to get it up. And you look at the charts of where all of our attack was coming from, it was pretty much all the left side.
Right.
So it was like Hannes was almost invisible to us, and we were thinking that he was having a bad game, but then all of the offense was coming through his side.
Well, they were because Burke, he was out on the left, right? They
Yeah.
like him and Hannes were very fluid amongst each other too, kind of in a similar way that Perea and Aiden can be. And we had that small dosage of Burke when he came into the game that we were at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, where Cavallo got hurt.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, despite being at left back in that game, it felt like he wanted to take on a left wing position or attack like as much as he could.
Yeah.
Like he was very willing to do that, and I think that showed a lot in this game too. And like maybe that's something interesting that needs to be explored more. Hack at this point, in the eyes of us, and I think
His league center back.
yeah, in the eyes of a lot of fans, and clearly in the eyes of Pascal.
CB2 minimum.
Yeah, I mean he is like a starting. He is the
Yeah.
guy. Like if you're
100%.
putting together the best, strongest 11, even if you're Pascal's lineup choices at this point has matched that, has agreed with that.
Yeah.
So maybe Burke has to become a mainstay on that left back.
Yeah, I mean look, I think Burke, when put into positions where he's not one of the main two defenders, and he's allowed to be like an accessory defender, I think it almost benefits him a lot because it takes a little bit of that pressure away from having to be the guy and covering, a mass amount of space. Whereas Hack, I think, takes that on and really wears that, and Thiago does as well. Burke kind of needs to be that accessory player, and he's done it really well. So I don't see why you kind of take that away from him, especially if O'Toole's banged up.
Yeah,
at
I mean,
the
how do
moment.
you rate a Burke at left back against an O'Toole from what we've seen from O'Toole in the past when he's healthy?
Yeah, you want and kind of need O'Toole in the team because he's just from the character and his engine, like he's a very high
He'll
intensity
go
guy. Like, he'll
100.
go. And he almost like shredded his knee just for a tackle that he realistically probably didn't need. So I think you try to find ways to fit him in, but Hannes isn't really stamped himself as like an every game starter. Like there is a world where you take Hannes out if you're gonna have Hannes tuck in as a left back anyways, and you just put O'Toole in and allow O'Toole to have freedom going forward.
Up at the wing?
Yeah, like
That
which
would
is
be
what
interesting.
that's
That'd be
what
like
he was in
shades of
college.
Jason, kind of for me.
Yeah, but that's what he was in college, and that's what we technically drafted him for. He just was converted to a left back out of need, out
Yeah.
of necessity. So, I would trust him fully in that position.
Yeah, I mean, Hannes for sure is. It just seems weird that we're still trying to figure out where on the field it makes sense to play him at any given time.
Yeah.
He feels like too. It's what's the saying? Like a jack of all trades and like master of none. Like he can put in minutes at the right wing. He can. I have personally called for him to spend some time at the 10. He's been at left back. He's been at left wing, and it's like he gets into all these positions and can, put in a 45-minute shift where you don't hate his guts, but like there's nothing coming from it. He's not finding himself as like a peg and kind of supplanting his spot in the lineup.
Yeah, but really none of the wingers are. If you think about it, outside of Alonso, there's nobody on the attack that you can look at and be like, okay, he's an everyday starter. If he's healthy, he's going to go.
Yeah.
And I think, games like last week with the Red Bulls will go, into Julian's favor towards, kind of cementing that spot. But it needs to be an every day, every game effort from him to keep it and to really stamp himself. He's far from it. But I think, going back to what I was saying earlier, him kind of taking that step forward and showing that effort and showing that desire, to me, that gives me a lot of hope that he can be that player. Obviously, you want to see it more than just a home derby. Like, you need to see it in more games, but he's definitely putting a good foot forward for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think it does, it deserves to be called out that at least seemingly, like, he is not upset with the role, I guess, that he has within the team. Like, he is more than welcome to adapt to, like, the left back or the getting back defensive duties, which is, like, not something we've always seen with players here. Matrita famously found himself shipped away to Europe because he couldn't do it. And we've had issues with other players in the past that just didn't really seem to fit because they weren't able to, be up and down the field the way that a lot of the tactics that we've employed as a club forever kind of require wingers to be. So I guess fair play to him that he's down for the cause, I guess, regardless of when he shows up, what position he's going to be in. And that, that gives him a little bit of more longevity within the team and, like, allows him to kind of get those minutes wherever he can. So
yeah. Do we talk about the Cadillac, the Mercedes, the Benz truck?
I don't know what.
Alonso, bro.
Alonso?
Like, a man that deserves like a good segment.
A good glazing.
I was about to say it, but I didn't want to say it.
I could hear it.
I know. I couldn't bring myself to it, but yeah.
That's crazy.
For all, like, I think for weeks, we've kind of not doubted him, but wanted more from him for sure. Wanted more from the position, wanted more from the team attacking wise, wanted somebody who's going to come in and have that killer edge. And I think he did kind of lack it for at least a week, maybe two, missing a pen, which could have given us a bigger win.
Yeah.
Things like that. This game, for him to go in, take chances, be risky, play with the confidence that he had, he deserves all of the flowers and more. And it's truly a player that we can rely on. Not in the same way that we used to be able to rely on Tati, because I think that's just, it's a different level, different beast altogether. But giving, like, Tati Jr. vibes for sure. Like, when was the last player that we truly had that would even have the balls to pull up from that deep, to even try it? Definitely caught Cornell off guard. Like, he didn't see that on tape at all.
No.
Just set the tone for the derby.
What is the next catalyst for Alonso? Like, what is the next step for him to kind of, like, take this jump to be like legitimately a Tati? Like, what do you think? I guess consistency plays a major role, but I feel like from just, like, an attitude perspective, like, I almost want to see him, like, character-wise and personality-wise, start to kind of embody the things that we saw, like, Tati embody in the past. And I feel like at times it's come out a little bit. I think he got asked a question during the preseason about how many goals he scored last year, and they were off by 1, and they were under by 1.
Yeah.
And he was like, he stopped in mid-question. He's like, it was 17, not 16. And it was like, yes, that is what you as a striker, you are supposed to be, like, as a human, as a personality. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe the club needs to maybe he is like that, and maybe the club just needs to, like, highlight that a little bit more in, like, the media and stuff that they do. But like you said, that I feel like I want to see that killer instinct, like, more on display, like, way more often.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, after that goal, I think that was the most I've ever seen him celebrate. Like, that was the most
That's what I'm
excited I've
like,
ever seen him. And, I don't know if that was just, like, being willed on by the manager, whatever it was. Like, they've responded very well to whatever Pascal was saying all week.
Yeah.
That was clear. But I want to see more of it.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. It sounds crazy to say, but, like, that he cared that much about the derby.
Right.
Like, he's so nonchalant.
All the time.
And I guess that's a good thing. I guess a lot of people would say that's a good thing. Like, it's good to be, like, humble and keep to yourself, but, like,
not
like
as
you
a New
said,
York,
that
not as an NYCFC striker.
Like, him running that jump and fist pump in front of the supporter section, like, we've never seen that from him.
Yeah.
Like, not like that.
All the best strikers at NYCFC were loud, in your face, they're gonna score.
Yeah.
They're not holding anything back.
Attitude issues at times. I think of Tati, like, when I think of Tati, one of the main moments that I think of was when we were at New England for the playoff game.
Red card.
He gets the red card, and he just stands on the field. He kind of just puts his hands on his hips. He starts throwing his shin pads in the air before he walks off the thing, and then
Matt Turner comes and tries to fight him.
He kind of just like waltzes off the pitch as slow as he possibly could, just like taking it all in. And like that is the type of character that I'm sure if you're like a European team that you want. Like that is what you want in a player. Like somebody that has that attitude that has shown within this stadium of 70,000 all opposing fans that just want him gone. Like by any means possible.
Like the type of player that every team hates except for the one that he's on.
Yeah.
And if that player's
and
on
every
your
fan
team,
base hates. Yeah.
He is a god to you.
That is Tati.
That's the next, like that's the step that Alonso needs to be at. I just don't know if it's in his nature. Like I genuinely think he's a nonchalant, chill dude, brain rot. But he genuinely is that. Like I don't know that he can kind of tap into that, but I think that there's a lot of players that are those relaxed, chill dudes that can kind of switch into a different human being.
Yeah.
When they touch a field.
I mean, that's what I want to see more. Like I feel like that's the next step for him, and I guess that would be kind of like Pascal's job to nurture that, right? To nurture that attitude and let him know that you need to be talking your shit.
Yeah.
Like you don't even ever see him like jawing at other players on the field. I feel like that was something that Tati did well too. Like he was always getting in the center back's head or leaving an elbow on a center back or doing things that just kind of frustrates them for 80 minutes. So in the 81st minute, you can
the dude elbows you and now you get a card or whatever.
Or you can just catch him off guard with something else and just fuck him up in that moment. So that to me, I feel like that's the next step. And I don't know how we can't help develop that in any way.
No,
I don't think.
I mean,
the best we can do is put a clip on Instagram and tag it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have to have that dog in you somewhere. Something has to ignite that. Everyone has it in them. It's just like what brings it out for you, and are you able to bring it out and still keep your shit together to actually perform? Mm-hmm. But I love everything lately from Alonso.
Yeah.
Like that gives me a lot of hope. I think in terms of the players that I wanted to highlight, that's kind of it. I don't know if you had any.
No, I mean, I feel like we touched on basically everybody. I feel like that was a good step in the right direction for the Alonso attitude era, if that's what we want to call it. If that's what we'll christen the name, and we'll see if the man wants to take the reins. I don't know, but hopeful that he does. I think we have, who do you say, Chicago upcoming?
Chicago.
They're on
Sunday.
Yeah, they're on a little bit of a tear. I think they handily won their Open Cup game, and then they really took care of business against Charlotte this weekend, and they beat Atlanta as well, who is spiraling. And the $100 that I bet on them to win the cup is surely on fire at this point. Yeah. And they're saying Ronnie's going to get fired. But we've all heard this before.
Let him come be the Nick Cushing. Let him come be the assistant that
imagine.
The cheers on chants and all that fun stuff.
A vibes guy.
Vibes guy.
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie's not a vibes guy.
No, I also don't think he's going to get fired. That'd be.
No, all they have to do is look at 2021.
I mean, that is Ronnie's bread and butter right now. That is like...
So...
He is printing out that and leaving it under the door of the general manager.
He's just got DVDs. He's got DVDs printed of that 2021 season.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, Ronnie, I don't think he didn't win in his first year with us either, right? It was year 2.
It was year 2.
So, give the guy time, let him cook. It does have to be said that if you're gonna spend all that money and get a premier coach, like you're not necessarily in the market of win later. You're kind of like, I want to win now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure he's much happier getting millions spent than $1 million or $2 million that we spent.
That's fair. Yeah.
So
and Chicago's at home, away. I can't remember. I want
to say home.
I swear we looked right before the episode, but that is just a
home.
testament to our brains.
Home.
I mean,
Yankee.
You said it yourself. It feels like an opportunity to get on a roll.
I do think so. And any time that we can stack a couple home wins, get some confidence going into an away game and pull, I mean, literally anything. I mean, I am on my knees. Anything from an away game, and we'll be happy. But yeah, that's 161.
It's around there.
One something.
Yeah. We didn't do any of our stuff at the start. So to be fair, we're rusty. We're removed from filming an episode for a little while.
For a while.
Now. But follow us, like the video, subscribe wherever you are, please, sir. We would appreciate it greatly.
Yeah. What's the question of the day?
No comment, no question of the day. I guess.
Who was your man of the match versus Red Bulls?
Yeah, and don't say Alonso.
Don't say Alonso.
Yeah, just to make it difficult, and don't say Maxi. No goal scorers allowed.
Basically, you have to say Pascal.
Yeah, that's fair. We didn't talk enough about him, but we're not going to. So
No.
let's string a few of them together here.
String a couple together, get anything on the road, and maybe.
Yeah, so that's
about it.
162, 161. I guess we're determining when you're going to hear from us again.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we have like an overseas
show.
episode, either that or possibly a guest episode, depending on how this man's connection is. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see on that one. But yeah, we'll see you guys when we see you.
Yeah. Peace.